What's up everyone, and welcome back to HateWatchers for our comedy review of the 7th episode of The Last of Us, entitled Left Behind. Please remember to hit that thumbs up, as it helps our videos reach more fans out there. Without further ado, let's jump right into the breakdown. Spoilers ahead. We open up on a trail of blood, which is evidence that Ellie didn't learn how to use that menstrual cup from the last episode. Joel really wants to take a nap, but Ellie won't let him, and he gets aggressive. Jumping back to the 80s, Ellie is running laps in gym class listening to her Walkman. She gets into a fight and is sent to the warlord/principal's office, somewhere she's apparently ended up on quite a few occasions. Later, Ellie is trying to get the beauty sleep she so desperately needs when an intruder breaks in and makes Ellie smell her hands. It turns out it's her friend, Dollar Store Zendaya, who wants to take her on a field trip. They do some B&E and practice Morse code. Next, they find a homeless crack addict and steal his booze, and he gets pissed and makes a quick exit. They taste test the booze just to find out it was actually the bum's piss bottle. Then they do some amateur level rooftop parkour, but they can't match the expert in this field. Hoping to find the fabled Forever 21 of legend, they break into the old mall. Dollar Store Zendaya flips the lights on and tells Ellie about the wonders of Fireflyentology. Ellie discovers that during times of panic, looting tends to gravitate toward
sneakers.
Dollar Store Zendaya openly daydreams about Ellie wearing this lingerie, which is weird because that means it's actually the writers who are openly thinking about this 14-year-old in lingerie. They jump on a carousel which, like this episode, is going nowhere. They keep taking swigs of the piss bottle because they've never had booze before and just think this is what it tastes like. The underage lesbian tension is building with each turn of the carousel. We learn that Dollar Store Zendaya left Fedra because they determined she was only fit to be a janitor. They take pictures in a photo booth, then hit the arcade and play Mortal Kombat, and they almost kiss. In Dollar Store Zendaya's home, which is a nacho shop, Ellie finds her pipe bombs, which is apparently one of her turnoffs, and she storms out. It turns out Dollar Store Zendaya got traded from the Celtics to the Hawks and is leaving Boston for Atlanta. Now Ellie's really mad that her friend would bother saying goodbye in such a meaningful way. What a bitch. She leaves but comes back to apologize when she hears screaming. But it's just a Halloween decoration because we can't afford to have any measurable excitement interrupting all this important talking. Dollar Store Zendaya throws her a mask because it's easier than having an open discussion about Ellie's face. They dance on glass 1/8 of an inch thick and somehow it doesn't break. They take the masks off and kiss, because that's the real point of this episode. The store manager comes in and tells them to get off the counter, and the creators make the black girl pull out a gun and start blasting. Ellie stabs him in the head with a knife, and now the store is theirs. In the scrum, however, they both got bit by a man, which is really gross for our teen lesbian squad. We jump back to the present, and Ellie is frantically searching around, surprised to learn that this house doesn't seem to have hospital-grade medical supplies. Going back in time once more, Ellie and Dollar Store Zendaya are talking about suiciding or letting the infection run its course. Ellie wakes Joel up from his nap and starts practicing Operation, wanting to stay sharp for her weekly board game club, and the episode comes to an end. Well, we've reached that point in the video where we have to decide if this episode was a great watch or a hate watch. And it's a hate watch. I think Ellie said it best.
You're so pointless.
The point of these kind of flashback episodes is to round out characters, to show how they got to where they are today and who they are today. So with that in mind, what did we get from this episode? We saw how Ellie got infected, sure. We learned that she had a close friend that got infected with her. Oh, and Ellie's a lesbian in case you missed the 45 minutes dedicated to subtly hammering that point home. Seeing how Ellie got infected has some value. We'll give the creators that one. But there wasn't anything else here worth spending this amount of time on. This episode could have been a 5-minute flashback, maybe a 10-minute flashback because we're feeling nice. The closest this episode got to making a salient point about Ellie's personality and state of mind is taking her lover/friend's advice post-infection and making the most of the time they have left, taking it hour by hour. But like so many other important points in this season so far, the creators missed the mark and glossed over it. Seeing Ellie take that lesson to heart and having it truly shape her outlook in the here and now potentially would have made the episode more worthwhile. It would give the girl traveling with Joel some much needed depth and another perspective for the audience to keep in mind when watching the rest of her story play out. Worst of all, this episode did the opposite and actually makes Ellie seem like more of a flat character than before it aired, because there's no notable difference between her character before the traumatic event and after. Ellie is surly and feisty and keeps a rough exterior to keep her inner fear of being alone hidden. But then her best friend slash spit swapper gets infected and dies, and then Ellie is exactly the same as she was before. Losing someone apparently this close to her has had no tangible impact on her as a person, and it's a disservice to the character, a character who's already struggling to resonate with viewers. It feels like the creators have really overestimated how much people were going to like this Ellie. Outside of what we saw between these two, some might argue that there was some world building in this episode, but we disagree. Outside of seeing 11 seconds of life in a Fedra school, we didn't get anything we didn't already know. All the rest was Ellie and Dollar Store Zendaya building, if you can call it that. If you needed any evidence that the creators should not be straying from the source material, this episode is your proof. It's hard to know exactly how much involvement either of the creators had in any one episode, but whoever was pushing this one should take a step back. And as a side note, we've had a full gay episode, and now a full lesbian episode. And all the while, we spent about 3 minutes total on Ellie's infection reveal, Sam's infection reveal, and all these other important character-defining moments. It really shows you where the creators' priorities are. Now, they didn't take that flashback to its grisly end with Ellie's friend's death, so it's possible that they're leaving the real payoff for another flashback at the end of the season. But that's going to be a tough hill to climb as, again, they're overestimating how much people care about this Ellie. Did you think this episode did anything to make you care more about Ellie or see her in a different light? Do you see any difference in Ellie from the flashback and the one we've met traveling with Joel? I'm sure you'll let us know in the comments. The third season of The Mandalorian is starting up this week, and with it our reviews of the show, so stay tuned to the channel for those videos as well as the last couple episodes of The Last of Us. Remember to like the video, subscribe, and all that jazz. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next one.